with a really fun Christmassy sparkly video for you using some of the new products from the new release and some older products too. So first up, I've cut out my panel using the new Snow Flurry cover plate die, and I'm applying some of my Distress Oxide ink over the top of that using my extra large blender brush. So this is one of the blender brushes that comes in the pack of two, so the duo pack, and this is a really useful brush for covering large surfaces such as this. Now I've used two colours of ink here. I've used the tumbled glass and the stormy sky, and I originally intended that I would do this in a portrait position, but I did change my mind on that as we go along. You can see here I've got my splatter box out and I really needed to use that because I'm using the new shade of our shimmer spray, the Winter Frost, to add some sparkle to the back of my ink blended background. So the excess ink, I've just mopped that up with my kitchen roll, and you can see already how wonderful that sparkle and shimmer is on our background. I've set that aside to dry, and now I'm going through some of my metallic cardstock to pick some out to cut out my sentiment. The sentiment that I'm using is an older one. It's the Let It Snow sentiment, and I love this large sentiment. It really does make for a great focal point. It does come with an outer die as well, and originally I did intend to use that outer portion with some holographic cardstock, but I did change my mind in the end, and I decided to just use the sparkle layer. I'm cutting out my panel just a little bit smaller than an A6 size card base, and I've also cut out two more of the Let It Snow sentiments in white cardstock. This way I can layer them up and create a bit of dimension really easily. So I'm using some of my liquid glue there just on each layer, and then just stacking them on top of each other so that I've made my own 3D embellishment. This fine tip nozzle on my glue really helps get into those finer details as well. And don't forget your tittle. The tittle is the dot over your eye. So this can be a little bit tricky, but using my quick sticks tool here, I've been able to just stack those up on top of each other. But just be careful, don't lose them. So just stack that up on top. And again, I'm just going to pop this to one side while we prepare the rest of our card. So next up, I cut out a stitched landscaped border there. So that's one of our slimline landscape border dies, and I've created a bit of a snowbank there using that. And I'm now going to have a little flick through some of the new Joyful Winter paper pad to pick out two different patterned papers that I can use for my little Dachshund characters. So these are the new Stop Dachshund Around character set. I really love this stamp set. It's so cute. And the great thing about it is that you can dress your little Dachshunds in some cozy sweaters. So I'm using some of my patterned paper here to create a little sweater pattern for each of my little dogs. So I'm just using some VersaFine ink, which is a really good bold ink colour, which means that'll stand out really well against those patterned papers. And then I'll fussy cut each of those out. But I did think that I might like a white border around one of my sweaters. So I did do stamp one of the images on some white paper. So it was just the reverse of the pattern paper. And I also stamped out that little hat as well, so that can make him a little woolly hat. I'm fussy cutting these out, and I've sped this up at I think about 600 times real speed. I wish I could fussy cut this quickly. But the trick with fussy cutting, I do actually quite like fussy cutting sometimes. And the trick with it is to just take your time, but move the paper rather than your scissors. And that really helps you get a neater finish. And you'll see as well as we go on, I'm just popping these on with some liquid glue. And you can see there, I was thinking about adding the white edges to the sweater, but I changed my mind on that. So just added that sweater to my other little dog. And then on the rim of the little Santa hat, I did add that white piece there because I felt that just looked a little bit better. And then to finish this off, and this is a really neat trick, and you can do this with all of your paper piecing, is to just go back round those edges with a black marker pen. And that covers up any areas where you might not have been quite so neat with your cutting. It really does really, cover up any rough spots. I'm going to add some liquid glue now to the top of the little puppy's head, and there he's got his cute little hat on. How cute is that? So they've got their own little sweaters on, which are so cute. And now we can finish off our background. So originally I did use a bit of chipped sapphire to darken up the top of this background, but I didn't like how that matched with my sentiment. So I'm now using some peacock feathers instead. And you can see that that matches much better with the sentiment. So I'm just really blending that into the background we've already created. And the great thing is that that shine still comes through that extra layer of ink that we've applied. I'm also going to add some splatters of white gouache now. So I'm using my fan brush and some water to water down that paint, and then I'm just splattering that all over the background of my snowy snowdrift background. I did use my heat gun here just to quickly dry that off because I did want to get to the next part of the construction, but you can leave this to one side to dry naturally on its own if you've got the time. So I'm just checking now where I want my snowdrift to be at the bottom, and I want it to line up with the bottom of my sentiment, and I'm then going to cut out the rest of it using that same A6 layer die that we used to cut out our background. And I did cut down this panel ever so slightly because I wanted a little bit of white to show around the outside. I think that really frames the picture really well, having that little border around the outside. I'm using my acrylic blocks just to push that down so I don't get inky fingers on my background, because I'm terrible for doing that. That happens all the time. And I'll do the same with some liquid glue onto that snowy bank. Some more liquid glue on our 3D'd sentiment. So again, the fact that we've stacked this up means we don't have to mess about adding little foam pads, and that looks really beautiful in the middle of our card there. And again, once that's all set down, don't forget your tittle and make sure that you add a little drop of glue and pop that over the eye. And then we're going to position our little dachshunds, and I'm going to use some foam pads just to stack those up and give them a little bit of dimension. So I sped this up as much as I could just to save you having to watch me pull off lots of tape off the back of here, and pop each of my cute little puppies down on the card base facing each other. So once all of my backing's off and I've got these facing each other, I realised that actually my first puppy is a little bit wonky, and I wanted to straighten him up a little bit. So I have just carefully lifted him up off those foam tabs and repositioned them, and then lifted his bum up a little bit so that he's a bit straighter. Now, I felt like there was something missing in the middle, something that they needed. And as the sentiment was around snow, I took this pile of snowballs and a single snowball from our Skating by Penguins set. Die cut both of those images out using my mini die cutting machine, which is really handy for small dies like this where you don't want to pass them through your A4 machine. And I've just used some foam dots again just to pop those up and give them a bit of dimension. I did have these round foam pads, and I thought they would be perfect just to stack those up. For embellishments, I'm going to use our new shaker mix in the Penguin Blizzard and the enamel dots, the Sweet Summer enamel dots. And I'm just picking out all of the white snowflakes and the white dots that are in that blizzard mix, that penguin blizzard mix. And I'm just positioning them randomly around my sentiment where I think it looks pleasing. And I've taken one of the smallest enamel dots from that Sweet Summer enamel dots pack and just added that to the top of the little puppy's hat, which I think looks really, really cute. Once I was happy with the position of all of my little embellishments, I'm going to use my glossy accents to stick each of those in place. I had a little bit of trouble with this last one. It didn't want to stick down, but it did eventually. And then I'm using some of my crystal stickles to add some sparkle because it just needed that little bit of extra sparkle to set it off with that sentiment. So I've used the sparkle on all of the little edges of the sweaters as well, and also on the puppy's hat. And that's our card complete. Really cute. I really hope that you've enjoyed today's card project, and it's given you a little bit of inspiration to add some sparkle to your own projects and to do a little bit of paper piecing. Thank you so much for watching today, and I hope to see you for another video really soon. Bye bye now.